हरि ओम। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः विशेषदेवं कृष्णेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्याप्त देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Aptakamaha. The fulfilled being is called Aptakamaha. He himself is Atmakamaha. You cannot fulfill your desires, all of your desires. To fulfill your desire means to fulfill all your desires. Fulfilling all your desires is not possible without knowing yourself. And therefore it is said, fulfilling yourself, Aptakamaha is Atmakamaha. Atmakamaha means akamaha. Aptakamaha means atmakamaha. Atmakamaha means akama. A person who is fulfilled, who has no desire at all. A person who is who has fulfilled all his desires. He is called aptakamaha. How can he have a will? When you have a desire, then you have a will. You have a will. Even animals have a kind of a will. A rudimentary will they have. They also have a choice, but a rudimentary choice, please. We have a choice, a but we find ourselves choosing to go here and there. To choosing, we find ourselves choosing. Therefore, we don't have choice as such. We don't choose freely. We choose very rarely. We find ourselves choosing, and therefore, like we find ourselves embodied. And therefore, we find ourselves also choosing. And therefore, choice is also very, very little we have. We don't choose freely. We find ourselves choosing. And therefore, finding ourselves choosing means it is anadi. And therefore, adhyasa is anadi. And choosing, choice is also anadi, please. Choice is not sadi. Choice also is anadi. Because if you find yourself choosing a wife, then it is anadi karmana karyam. Anadi karmana karyam. It is anadi karmana karyam means presupposes adhyasa, and adhyasa is anadi. Whatever I find myself, even kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsaryas, they are called swabhavikas. But one finds oneself with them. When he finds oneself with, he is not deliberate in becoming anger. He finds himself becoming angry, and he finds himself becoming jealous. He finds himself becoming desirous. He finds himself becoming malice, etc., greedy. He finds himself becoming kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. All of them he finds himself to be doing, and therefore it is anadi. Whatever you find yourself doing it is anadi. Whatever you find yourself doing it is anadi. Anadi means it presupposes anadi adhyasa. That is what it means. Anadi means it presupposes anadi adhyasa. And whatever is the result of adhyasa is also anadi. Adhyasa is anadi, and therefore the result of adhyasa is also anadi. Sansara is anadi. In sansara, whatever you are finding yourself choosing something is also anadi. Finding yourself choosing is also anadi. And therefore, adhyasa being anadi, the result of adhyasa is also anadi. And therefore, a person, Bhagavan If he is already aptakamaha, atmakamaha, akamaha, then how can he create a desire? And therefore, people think this must be a creation. And this is not a creation, please. It is only a avidya kalpitam. It is a perception. It is I perceive the world. I perceive the world. It is only perception. Shastra kalpana is, Shastra does the kalpana of Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Ekatva pratyedadhyaya, tat pratyedadhyaya. That pratyedadhyaya means Utpatti pratyedadhyaya, Sthiti pratyedadhyaya, and Laya pratyedadhyaya. They are only meant for Ekatva pratyedadhyaya. Srishti, Sarveshu Vedanteshu, Srishti Sthiti Laya Kalpana. Ekatva pratyedadhyaya, natu tat pratyedadhyaya means tat pratyaya means Utpatti pratyedadhyaya, Srishti pratyedadhyaya, dadhyaya, or Sthiti pratyedadhyaya, Laya pratyedadhyaya. And therefore, the Bhagavan who is all fulfilled is free from desire. He doesn't have to enjoy anything. He doesn't. Some people think that Bhagavan must have done it for his own enjoyment. Bhagavan must have done it for his own entertainment. He is free from a person who is free from aptakamaha, atmakamaha, and akamaha. He is free from enjoying things and he is free from desires of anything. There is nothing parallel to him, and therefore there is no bhoga of him. He is only being there. It is like silence. Silence is not something, absence of sound. Silence is the presence of silence, presence of consciousness, presence of your being is silence. And that is why even this nishabda, silence is considered to be the truth. One person is kept quite silent. He went and asked, a student went and asked the teacher, please teach me Brahma Vidya. And him, ho, please teach me Brahma Vidya. And he kept quiet. I am just speaking, but you are not listening to me. He said, the Guru said, please teach me something. He said, the Guru said, I am teaching you, but you are not listening to me. The Atma is something that is completely silent, and I am being silent. And you are not listening to the silence. And therefore, silence is something that is, it is not absence of sound, please. Silence means it is the presence of your being. The presence of your being and silence are synonymous. Presence of Atma. In Sushupti, it is not absence of something. It is not absence of unhappiness. It is presence of Shant, serenity. And therefore, there is no absence of something. There is only presence of your being. Therefore, in Sushupti, what is there is only presence of your being. And the presence of your being is silence. And that silence, just as this sound is the upadana karanam of the entire sound, is silence. Silence being the upadanam of the entire sound. The sound is born of you, sound is sustained by you, sound is silent, goes back unto you. Therefore, you are the upadanam for the entire sound. And therefore, the entire thought means the sound and distraction and desires, anything. Thought stands for everything that I don't like. It puts up something. Avidya puts up something that is parallel to me. The universe is parallel to me, and that parallelness also is a kind of distraction. Parallelness is a kind of a distraction, and therefore man finds himself very, very funny. Man finds himself at a loss to think of a distraction. He is at a loss of words to think of distraction. When he is Brahman, why should he have distraction? But he finds himself embodied. But you are being free from embodiment, please. You are being free from the body. But if you are embodied, then it should be felt by you. But it is not felt by you. It's not, even though you feel that I have the body, but there should be a touch. The body, your being in the body should be touched. The body should touch you, but it doesn't touch you, and that means in Upadesh Sahasri, Bhagavan says, where is the pain? He only refers to If you say it is in the stomach, if you say it is in the stomach, that means you are only saying the pain, you are only referring to the pain to be present in the physical body, not in awareness. That means awareness is free from pain. Awareness doesn't have pain. Therefore, apranaha, amanaha, shubbraha. It is free from the breath, it is free from the thought, and it is shubbraha. Apranaha, amanaha, shubbraha. It is free, it is independent of prana, breath, etc. It is independent of thought, and it is shubbraha. And that is what clearly it is said, that it is free from all of that. It is independent of all of that. And therefore, being independent of it, and therefore you are being free from the body, and therefore you are being free from the body, and therefore it is important to reflect that if you are free from the body, being free from the body, you should be able to think. You should be able to think that you are free from being the body. Yes, that is true. Yes, that is true. Please, you are free from being the body, and therefore you should be able to reflect and understand that you are free from being the body, because when you are free from being the body, then you have to understand, even though it is within your experience, but it is not that it is within my experience. I have to recognize that recognition. So Amara Guruji used to say, what is there within your experience also needs to be recognized. That it is within your experience. If it is not within your experience, you can never recognize. You can never recognize. A scientist also goes to the world and thinks of the world. A scientist thinks of the world because the world is within his experience. And therefore, if you talk about the heaven, he can't understand it. Why? Because it is not within his experience. And therefore, heaven becomes a matter of faith, matter of belief. Faith and belief are synonymous, please. Don't think belief is different, faith is different. You don't argue like that. Please, faith is another word for belief. Belief, every belief is blind belief. Every belief is a blind belief. And therefore, every faith is a belief. Every belief is a faith. And therefore, it is a blind belief only. It is blindness. And even if you think that my belief will save me, even if you think so, it need not be. It need not save you. There is no concession in given in the Shastram that even without knowledge, knowing yourself, you can know that you can be liberated. That kind of concession is not given by the Shastra, because when a person knows the truth, then alone he can be liberated. Without knowing the truth, he cannot be liberated. And therefore, here it is said, therefore Bhagavan cannot have any desire, any will, any choice. He is only presence. Presupposing his presence is the whole universe. And therefore, instead of saying without his will, even a patta cannot move, instead of saying that, you should all know, without presupposing his presence, he being aptakamaha, he cannot have any will. He is not doing avidya kalpitam. When the Maya is not synonymous with avidya. Maya is avidya kalpitam. Why? Because Shastra kalpitam. Shastra comes up with the prakriti, prakriya, and in that prakriya only it talks about the Maya. The objects are mayikam. It is said, the Shastra says that they are mayikam. Mayikam means they are only false. They are false. They are apparent. They are mithya iti. Maya means yamasa maya. So what is actually not there is Maya. It is like magic or a dream. In my words, in my view, the dream is a better suited example than magic, because we don't know the magic. Most of the times, the magic is something that we know of. Is only his mind, his hands are quicker than your eyes, and that is. But then the dream is not like that. In the dream, there is a sense of reality. In the waking also the sense of reality. And the sense of reality, the sense of externality, the sense of externality, stressors are there, the sense of likes and dislikes are there. I like and dislike the objects in the dream, and in the same manner in the waking also. I like and dislike the objects in the waking also. And there the objects are, there the objects, the dream objects are solid. Here also in the waking world, the objects are solid. And there I enjoy the objects for my fullness. Even though one says it is only for fulfill, it is only for survival. It is not for survival, even though it is for fullness only. Fullness is the struggle. The struggle is for fullness, please. And that's why samsara, you come back again and again. After every life, you come back and again and again. You die unfulfilled. That is why it is said, Brahma vidapnoti param, tadesham yukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yoveda nihitam guhaya, parame vyaman soshnute sarvan kaman saha. To a person who understands the truth that he is present in his own heart, he is indeed, he enjoys the fulfillment of all desires at the same time. And therefore, soshnute sarvan kaman saha, brahmana vipashiteti. That is another vakya. In the form of Brahma, in the form of Vipashchit, means a jnani, he understands. A Brahmajnani, he has to be Brahman in order to be a Brahmajnani. Not that he has to objectify Brahman, he has to be Brahman. He has to, being is what is called, what is important. If you know the tree, you can't be the tree. But if you know the Brahman, you can be the Brahman. Being the Brahman is exactly what is called jnanitvam. And therefore, here it is said, and the better example that is suited is dream rather than magic. Magic, we don't know what is magic. Many people don't know what is magic. Jadugar. It is not like Jadugar means, it's not we don't have that kind of Jadugars now. As Shankaracharya says, like a person who goes, he throws the rope up and he climbs the rope. That kind of Jadugar is not there now. And therefore, he climbs the rope and then he cuts his body into pieces. And then, but he is all the time standing nearby. He is indeed, that is his swarupa, to be standing always there. He looks to be he looks to be cutting his body into pieces, but actually he is not cutting anybody's body into pieces, and that is his swarupa. And then therefore magic we don't know, and therefore the best example is the dream. The waking is like the dream, and therefore the waking is like the dream, and that is what is to be understood. And therefore, when he is free from the choice, the will, etc., then he is not enjoying the objects for fulfilling his needs or anything. So he doesn't have embodiment. When he doesn't have embodiment, he doesn't have the physical needs also. The needs, he doesn't have the mental needs also, because he is free from the body and the mind. He doesn't have the breath needs also, needs of air, and that also he doesn't have. And therefore he is free from the prana. He is apranaha, manaha, shubhraha, it is said. He is free from the breath, he is free from the thought, he is free from, and therefore he is free, he is pure, and therefore he is free from everything. And therefore, why should you think that it is all a creation? It is not a creation, it is your perception, please. Like Bhagavan says, it is pratyarupam. It is pratyarupam. Adhyasa means pratyarupam. When you think that it is pratyarupam, why do you think it is a part of a creation? Creation means it is something, it's what is what is there. It is distinct, it is different from what is. What is the truth. Truth alone is what is. But everything else is a creation, we say. The universe is a creation, we say. But the universe is indeed, creation means it is something different from what is. In that sense, it is a creation. But it is not creation by the will of Parameshwara. It is not the creation by the will of Parameshwara. Whatever is unmanifest becomes manifest again. And therefore, the Jagrata, sometimes we see the objects, sometimes we don't see. Seeing the objects is called creation. Seeing the objects is called the manifestation. Not seeing the objects is what is called non-manifestation. And therefore, anything that is not seen comes to be seen. And therefore, when you don't see, and the one who sees is the truth, and what is seen is an appearance. It appears to you and it disappears to you. It appears to you and it disappears to you. And it appears in you and it disappears in you. It appears to whom is indeed the Paramatma. That to whom it appears is Paramatma. To whom it disappears is Paramatma. And what appears and disappears is Mithya, is only a creation. It is brought about. It is entertained by you. It is a pratyaropa. A thought is entertained, and therefore a pratyaropa also is entertained. Pratyaropa means a thought, please understand this. And therefore, and pratyaropa is, understand, pratyaropa means a thought. It is only by your perception. You think that it is there, but in actuality it is not there. You think that it is there. In actuality it is not there. And therefore, it looks as though before it is considered to be, it is discovered as pratyaropa, like perception, like the rope is a rope and snake is a perception. In the same manner, the universe also is a perception. Before it is discovered as a perception, it looks like as though a thing. And therefore, thingness of the thing is indeed due to non-reflection, due to non-discerning between Atma and Anatma. I am the body, is indeed the reason why the universe appears as real. This embodiment is the reason why it appears as embodiment, why it appears as the real. The universe appears as real because of the embodiment. And therefore, Atma has to be discerned from Anatma. Shankaracharya ji, in all through the Bhashyam, Sutra Bhashyam, he has mentioned the non-separation of the Anatma with the Atma. And that is what is to be understood. Throughout the Brahma Sutra, he has given. I don't think they are the same Shankaracharyas, the one who has written Upadesh Sahasri and the one who has written Sutra Bhashyam. They may be two different Shankaracharyas, but I think so. But it may not be. I may be wrong also. Yes, I may be wrong. Yes, but I feel, because it is not said in the Upadesh Sahasri that everything has to be discerned. Atma has to be discerned from Anatma. And then he says, and then we have to say that Anatma is non-separate from Atma. That is what is said in Sutra Bhashyam, but that is not said in Upadesh Sahasri. And therefore, Upadesh Sahasri may be different by different Shankaracharya, by the local Shankaracharya has written, but not the same Adi Shankaracharya, because he has not mentioned even once the way he has not talked about the discerning at all. And therefore, the discerning has not been done. And therefore, it may be true. Maybe it is the same Shankaracharya also, or maybe it is a different Shankaracharya also. Maybe, I don't know. But I do feel that it may be done, it might have been done by a different Shankaracharya. That's what I feel so. And therefore, the Atma, why do you think that it is a creation? It is not a creation, it is a perception. Why don't you call it as a perception? It is only a perception. It is not a creation, please. If Parameshwara has no will, then how can, presupposing the presence of the Parameshwara, everything becomes manifest. That you can say. Everything becomes manifest, presupposing the presence of Parameshwara. That is all right to say. But then to say that he has created this universe for his own entertainment or for enjoyment is not true, because he is Aptakamaha. Aptakamaha means Atmakamaha. And therefore he can understand, he can only fulfill his desire when the fullness is understood. The fullness is not a process. The fullness is being. To be, like to be still, like the space is something that is accommodative of all the elements, other four elements, and at the same time it has no boundaries. In the same manner, consciousness also. So the space is from the creation. From the creation means what is brought about? A perceived universe. It is only from the perception. Perception is the entertained universe. It is culled from, it is taken from the universe and the creation, because we don't have a simile for the truth. We don't have another Ishvara. We don't have another Nirvisesham. If there were another Ishvara, then we would have given him, he is like that Ishvara. But there is only one Ishvara, and therefore we can't give any simile. He is free from similes also. And therefore the similes are taken from the creation, from the universe only. Just as the space includes all the elements, but it's not really something. It has no boundaries. It has no boundaries. There is no outside to it. There is no inside to it. It alone is. It alone is. Space alone is. The space runs through, in and through the air, in and through the fire, in and through the water, in and through the earth. And therefore, even those elements are none other than space alone. In the same manner, the entire Anatma, the Atma runs through the Atma, Anatma, and therefore every Anatma thing is non-separate from Atma. And therefore Atma alone is. And therefore it is a perception, it's not a creation. And therefore it always look upon the universe as a perception and not as a creation. In this manner, he says here, Aptakamasya Kaspurha. Aptakamasya. Aptakamaha means Atmakamaha, Akamaha. Aptakamasya means for him, Kaspurha. Where is the desire? How can there be any desire for an Aptakama? A fulfilled person, how can there be any desire for him? How can there be any desire for him when he is Aptakamaha, he is Atmakamaha? You cannot fulfill any desire in this world without knowing yourself, please. You can only be struggling. Without the knowledge of the self, you can't be fulfilling any desire. Any desire, not even one desire, can be fulfilled. If there is a desire, and if it is fulfilled once, then it should not come back. A fulfilled desire should not come back, but it comes back again and again. What does that mean? It is not fulfilled yet. It means it's not fulfilled yet, and therefore, not even one desire can be fulfilled. Leave alone all desires. But when your desires, the desire for fullness is fulfilled, and the desire for fullness is fulfilled only when the fullness is seen. The fullness is the truth, your existence. When the existence is seen, and when your existence is full, if that is understood, then that you are not the body is understood, then you are free from the desire also. You are akamaha. And therefore, Aptakamasya Kaspuraha, the Ishvara is the one who is Aptakamaha. Aptakamaha means Atmakamaha. Atmakamaha means Akamaha. Kaspuraha, and therefore this universe is not a creation. Don't look upon it as a creation. It is indeed a perception. Perception also is entertained. Perception is something. It appears to you and it disappears to you. And what appears and disappears is called appearance. This universe is an appearance, please. This you have to understand. This universe is an appearance because it becomes manifest. It appears to you and it disappears to you. It appears to you and disappears to you. That it appears is you are the proof, and that it disappears, in that matter also you are the proof. And because you are the proof of appearance and disappearance, and therefore even when it disappears, you experience the non-perception also. Just as you experience the perception, you experience the non-perception also. And therefore you are the proof of the proof of the appearance and disappearance is within experience. And therefore that is indeed the truth. Whatever is the proof of the pramanam is yourself. You are the one That experience is the manifestation. That experience is the non-manifestation. And therefore, you are the pramanam. You being the pramanam, you cannot say that I have not experienced. I'm not the pramanam. When you are the pramanam, you can't say that you are not the pramanam. When you say you are not the pramanam, that means you are the pramanam. You may say that is due to non-reflection. That is due to non-reflection. You may say I am not the pramanam. But then when you experience the manifestation, it is all within your experience. This is Anubhav Vishayam, and you are indeed Anubhav Swarupam. There is a difference between Anubhav Vishayam and Anubhav Swarupam. Anubhav Vishayam means an object that is an object of your experience. It is within your experience. And you are also within your experience. And therefore, between you and the universe, there is no difference. The universe, and you are exactly there. Where you are, the universe also is there only. And therefore, there is Advaitam. The universe is non-separate from you. The universe is being non-separate from you. And therefore, the place at which your existence is and the existence of the universe is felt. The existence of the universe is felt by you. And therefore, wherever you are, you are comprehensive of the whole universe. Wherever you are comprehensive of being the whole universe. And therefore, the universe is only a perception, not a creation, please. And this has to be understood properly. And why does it look like a creation? I consider it as a creation. Somehow, it has been put into our mind that it is a creation. It is a creation by Parameshwara, etc. It is not a creation by Parameshwara. It is avidya kalpitam. What I find myself with is only avidya kalpitam. Avidya kalpitam means it is born of avidya kalpitam. And Shastra does the kalpana to convey the avidya kalpitam, that it is avidya kalpitam. It is due to avidya kalpitam. What is avidya kalpitam? The universe is avidya kalpitam. Your embodiment is avidya kalpitam. This Shruti wants to convey. The Shruti wants to convey, point out to the Pramana, and therefore Shabda becomes the Pramana. Shastram wants to convey that it is all avidya kalpitam. And therefore, what is avidya kalpitam? Embodiment is avidya kalpitam. The universe around me is avidya. I find myself with embodiment. I find myself with with all with the universe surrounded by me and surrounded around me, and 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 I find myself with the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsaryas, and I find myself struggling, which is the result of adhyasa, which is the result of embodiment, and therefore this is called avidya kalpita. That it is all due to avidya, self-ignorance has to be pointed out. And what points out due to self-ignorance is indeed Shastram. Shastra, and therefore Shastra Shabda is the Pramana. Shabda becomes the Pramana. Shabda points out that it is all due to avidya kalpitam. Iti, the Shruti points out. And therefore the Shruti is Shabda Pramana. And therefore, Shruti being Shabda Pramana, we have been put into our brain, we have been told that it is all Ishvara Srishti. It is not Ishvara Srishti, it is Avidya Kalpitam. Kalpitam. Kalpitam means it is not, it is Kalpitam by whom? By me only. By me, conscious being only. It is Kalpitam by me. Kalpitam, not deliberately, but Avidya Kalpitam. It is Kalpitam to me. It is Kalpitam to me through Avidya. It is not Kalpitam by me deliberately. It is not kalpitam by me deliberately, it is kalpitam by the avidya to me. Avidya does the kalpana. Like the rope, I find myself with perceiving the rope in the snake in the rope. And therefore, rope snake, I find myself with perception. And similarly, the universe also, I find myself with perceiving the universe. I find myself perceiving the universe. And therefore, it is a mere perception, ununderstood. When I don't discern between Atma and Anatma, it looks as though a thing. The thingness is what is called the sense of reality. The sense of reality and the sense of the sense that it is real, the sense of likes, that it is available for liking and disliking, that it is available for pleasure and to give me pleasure and pain, etc. And therefore it is said, you should not come under the likes and dislikes. That is a sadhana. Not to come under the likes and dislikes is a sadhana, please. It is said, by the Shastra also it says, Bhagavan Krishna also says, Indriyasya Indriyasya Arthe Ragadvesha Vyavastita. Ragadvesha, in every object is available to be liked and to be disliked. And therefore, Tayorna Vashamagachet. Don't come under their spell. Tau has Paripantino. For a human being, they are like highway robbers. They can really waylaid. You can be waylaid by, you can be ambushed by ragadveshas, and therefore you don't have the ragadveshas. You don't come under the spell of ragadveshas. But if a person controls the ragadveshas, that means he has got Ishvaranugraha. If a person goes by ragadveshas, he finds himself going by ragadveshas, that means he doesn't have the Ishvaranugraham. And therefore, according to his karma, he goes on going to ragadveshas. And therefore, Ishvara Anugrahadev Pumsam Advaita Vasana, every word or every letter of it is true. That only by God's grace you can be liking Bhagavan. You only by that grace of truth you can be liking to know the truth. And therefore, it is not something Ishvara Anugrahadev Pumsam Advaita Vasana. Even the Vasana of Advaitam is possible only because you cannot get to sleep properly if your prarabdha is not good. If your prarabdha is good, then alone you can get good sleep also. In the same manner, you only by God's grace you can have the desire to have Advaita Siddhi, Advaita Buddhi. You want to understand the Advaitam. But when the Advaitam is not understood, then Advaitam becomes your goal. Advaitam becomes your thinking, and the Advaitam is already there in every life. There is already Advaitam. One person, one sadhu. Every time one Dvaiti used to come and argue with him. Said you are Advaita. How is your Advaitam true in this manner? And then one day that sannyasi called a barber, and then he called a barber, and then he said, "See, you are such a wonderful man. Please give me mundan." And he says, "You have made me." He prostrates at the feet of barber. Why? Because when you get the mundan, you look very beautiful. You look very nice. You have given me such a wonderful sight, such a wonderful beauty, and therefore all my pranams to you. He prostrates at the feet of the barber. At the same time, the Dvaiti also prostrates at the feet of the Swami, the Advaiti. Why? Because he says, if you don't have to study the scriptures to become Advaiti, because Dvaitam is already Swabhavikam. Dvaitam is something that is Swabhavikam. It is there you are facing the Dvaitam. The sense of reality, the sense of duality is there, and therefore you don't have to study the Shastra to know the Dvaitam. And therefore he prostrates at the feet of the Advaiti to think, to think that already I don't have to study. This barber, you tell him, you prostrate to him, you are Bhagavan Vishnu. He says, I am not Bhagavan Vishnu. The barber says, I am not Bhagavan Vishnu. To say that I am not Bhagavan Vishnu, I had to study Shastram. Shastram. Why should I study Shastram? Why should I study Shastram? There is no need to study Shastram in order to know that I am not Bhagavan Vishnu. Say you are not Bhagavan Vishnu. That you are not Bhagavan Vishnu. Bhagavan Vishnu is something that is away. Parameshwara is distant. In this manner, one thinks. Bhagavan is something else, Paroksha Buddhi. In fact, it is also called Paroksha Buddhayaha. Paroksha Buddhayaha means most of the people are Paroksha Buddhayaha. Paroksha Buddhaya means they're absent-minded, and therefore they always think Parameshwara as away from them. Parameshwara is not away from you. You are not being the body, please. The body embodiment is only as though. It is not true. Embodiment is not true. You have to discern between your existence and your being and the body. And therefore the body is not you. You are not the body. And that this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to think and understand. Ultimately, it is this understanding that will liberate you. And therefore, what is the time, please? It is 15 more minutes, yeah. And therefore, it is said 5 more minutes. 15 minutes, 9, 5 more minutes. 5:15, 9, 5 o'clock. Shritiranya, Kridarthamiti Chapare. And therefore, Parameshwara cannot create this world for his own entertainment, for his own pleasure. And therefore, it is a perception, not a creation. Don't call it as a creation. Always remember that it is a perception. You may call to the other, when you are talking to others, you may term it as creation. But creation means understand in your understanding. It is a creation means it is not what is. It is a distortion about what is. What is your actuality. What is actuality. And what is so perception is something that is brought about. Like what is the rope, and that your perception of that it is snake is only a perception. It is only pratyaya rupaha. It is not something that is created by you deliberately, or created by the rope deliberately, or created by Manduka deliberately, created by Apta deliberately, created by any Apta Purusha. Apta Purusha comes and only conveys the truth. That snake is apparent. And similarly, the Shastram also conveys the truth. What does it convey the truth? It conveys that it is indeed in your mind also you have to think that it is different from creation. It is called creation because it is different from what is. What is different from what. This is a perception, not a creation. This is a perception. Always understand that this is a perception. Perception. I perceive it to be so, and the same objects I perceive again and again. That is a part of the universe. That is a part of the waking state. That particular thing is a little difficult to understand. That it is a part of the waking state. Is for you to difficult to understand. For me, it is not easy. It is easy, please. For me, it is easy to understand. But for you to convey it, for me, it is difficult. To convey it is difficult. To convey it is difficult. It is a part of the waking state. It is a part of the waking state. Is something, and therefore it is not a creation. Creation, it is only a perception. Perception means it is entertained. It is only it is it is different from what is. What is consciousness, and what is perceived is something. It is something different from what is. It only appears and disappears, and therefore you are the truth. To whom it appears, to whom it disappears. And the pramanam for the appearance and pramanam for mithya is only yourself, your existence. It is you are the sakshi. Sakshi means sakshadikshate. It is sakshi. Sakshadikshate means directly you perceive it, and therefore you are the pramanam for everything. That it is an appearance and that it is a disappearance is known only to you, and therefore it is only an appearance. What appears to you and what disappears to you is an appearance, and therefore the universe is an appearance. And therefore an appearance has to be understood as an appearance. And the mithya has to be understood as mithya. The satyam has to be understood as satyam. Please, the rest of it we will see in the next class. Thank you very much. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much. I hope you are following what I am saying. Yes. Some people say yes and some people say no. Those people who say no, please raise your hands.